True love doesn't have substitutes, no matter how hard anyone tries to replicate it. What we share can never be replaced because no one else could ever give me what you do. Your love is a flame that burns brighter than any other, and no matter how many people come into my life, no one else could ever take your place. What we have is something extraordinary, something that can't be replicated. If you think someone else could take your place, then you haven't felt the strength of our bond. If you believe anyone else could replace you, then you've never truly understood how deeply you've touched my life. What we have is one of a kind. You've become an irreplaceable part of my life, and if you think someone else could ever take your place, you're missing the point of everything we've built together. No one else could ever love me the way you do. No one else could ever make me feel the way you do. That's why there's no room for anyone else to take your place. The more I think about it, the more I realize no one else could ever take your place. You are too important, too special, too irreplaceable. The depth of our connection cannot be measured by time or distance. If you think someone else could ever replace you, you're underestimating the strength of what we have. No one else could ever understand me the way you do, and no one could ever fill the place you've made in my heart. You are irreplaceable. When I think about you, I realize there's no one else who could take your place. You're too deeply woven into my heart, and no one else could compare. Our love is rare, and no one else could ever replicate the feeling I get when I'm with you. You are irreplaceable, and I wouldn't want anyone else by my side. It's not just about love, it's about the way we understand each other without words. You are irreplaceable, and no one else could ever fill the space you've made in my heart. If you think someone else could take your place, you've forgotten the depth of our connection. You're irreplaceable, and nothing can ever change that. What we share is rare, and no one else could ever take your place in my life. You are one of a kind, and that's why I'll always love you. No matter how many people come into our lives, no one could ever take your place. You are the one who holds my heart, and no one else could ever replace that. You have become a part of me in a way that no one else ever could. If you think anyone else could replace that, you're mistaken. There's no one who could ever replace the way you make me feel. You are irreplaceable, and there's no one else who could take your place. No one else could ever love me the way you do. No one else could ever make me feel the way you do. That's why you're irreplaceable. In this vast world, no one could ever fill your shoes. You are unique, and no one could ever take your place in my heart. If you think someone else could ever take your place, then you haven't truly seen how deeply you're loved. You are irreplaceable in every way. No one else could ever complete me the way you do. You are the missing piece I never knew I needed. And now that I have you, no one else could replace you. When you love someone truly, you realize that there is no one else who could take their place. You are irreplaceable, and nothing can change that. If you think anyone else could replace the love we share, you're mistaken. There is no one else who could make me feel the way you do. You've touched my heart in ways that no one else could. If you think anyone else could take your place, you haven't seen the depth of what we share. Love isn't something that can be replaced, and neither are you. No one else could ever take your place in my life. You're more than just important to me. You're irreplaceable. If you think someone else could take your place, you've missed the essence of what we share. There's no one else who could make me laugh like you do, who could hold me in the way you do. That's why no one could ever take your place. The truth is, no one else could ever fill the space you've created in my heart. You are irreplaceable, and no one will ever take your place. You're the one who holds the key to my heart, and no one else could ever unlock it the way you do. No one could ever take your place. In a world full of options and opportunities, you're the only one I want. No one else could ever take your place. You are the only one who makes me feel at home, and no one else could ever take your place in my heart. If you think someone else could replace you, you've never truly felt what we share. Our love is one of a kind, and you are irreplaceable. If you believe that anyone else could ever truly take your place in my heart, then you've misunderstood the depth of my feelings. What we share is irreplaceable, and no one else could ever come close to the bond we have. There are moments in life when you meet someone so unique, so irreplaceable, that no one else could ever take their place. If you think someone else could, you're only fooling yourself. You will always be the one I cherish. True connection goes beyond surface level attraction. It's the way someone makes you feel understood, seen, and loved. No one could ever take your place because there's only one you, and that's enough to make all the difference. People may come and go in life, but the mark you leave on someone's soul is permanent. If you think anyone could ever replace you, you've missed the point. Your essence is unlike any other. You are the piece I never knew was missing until I found it. If you think someone else could ever fill that space, you don't understand what we have. You're irreplaceable. In a world full of endless faces and voices, you stand out, not because you try, but because you are you. No one else could ever take your place, because no one else could ever be you. I don't just love you for what you give me, but for who you are, the way you see the world, the way you speak to my soul. No one else could ever take your place in my heart. When you find someone who truly sees you, who understands your fears and dreams, there's no room for anyone else. You are my one, and no one else could ever replace that. Sometimes it feels like the world is trying to offer something else, someone else. But the truth is that no one could ever replace you. What we share is unlike anything else. In the vastness of time and space, in the complexity of life, there is no one else like you. You are uniquely irreplaceable, and I wouldn't want it any other way. No matter how many years pass or how many people come and go, my heart knows that there is no one who could ever take your place. You've woven yourself into the very fabric of my soul. The love we share is something rare, something that cannot be replicated. If you think anyone could ever replace that, you haven't felt the depth of what we have together. It's not just about love, it's about connection. It's about the way you make me feel. And no matter how much time passes, there's no one who could make me feel the way you do. If you believe someone could ever replace the warmth of your touch or the sound of your laugh, then you haven't yet realized how deeply you're imprinted on my heart. You are the person I never knew I needed, and now that I've found you, no one else could ever take your place. Your spirit is irreplaceable. Sometimes you don't realize the importance of someone until you understand that no one else could ever fill their shoes. You are one of a kind, and that's exactly why you can't be replaced. You've carved your name in my heart, and nothing or no one will ever be able to erase it. There's no one else who could ever take your place. The love we share is not built on promises or expectations. It's built on a deep connection that no one else could replicate. You are irreplaceable in every sense. If you think someone else could take your place, it's because you've never understood the depth of what we share. You are my everything, and nothing can change that. In a world full of distractions and fleeting moments, your place in my life is permanent. No one could ever come close to taking your place. The truth is no one else could ever match what we have. the way you understand me, the way you love me. It's something only you could give. No one else could ever fill that role. People come and go, but true love stays. And if you think that someone else could replace the love we have, you're mistaken. There's only one you, and that's all I need. If you think someone could take your place, you've misunderstood the depth of my feelings. What we share is something unique and unbreakable. The love I have for you is not just in the good times. It's in every look, every touch, every moment we've shared. No one could ever replace that because it's ours. No matter how much the world changes, how much time passes, one thing remains the same. You are irreplaceable. No one else could ever take your place in my heart. People may think that someone else could replace the person they love, but the truth is, love isn't a competition. It's a connection that's impossible to replicate. It's not about being irreplaceable. It's about being unique. And there's no one else who could ever fit the space you've carved in my life. When you know someone as deeply as I know you, you realize there's no room for anyone else. You are irreplaceable, and I wouldn't change a thing.